All right, we're now live.
Good afternoon. I'm Chair Bobette Mays, and I would like to welcome you to the March 28th, 2022 Neighborhood Advisory Committee virtual meeting. We will now call our meeting to order. The chair consists of 9 members, all appointed by the City Council with representation from specific community sectors. Members shall be residents of the city or the city's extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction and shall reflect the socioeconomic diversity of Asheville. The term of the office is 3 years. The committee was established to advise the City Council on neighborhoods within the city of Asheville zoning and planning jurisdiction. The committee shall have the following duties and powers: develop rules and bylaws for the conduct of its business, including but not limited to meeting schedules, officers, voting, and subcommittees. Number 2, develop a plan to strengthen neighborhood identity and resilience and to facilitate communication and cooperation between Asheville's neighborhood and city offices. Number 3, develop benchmarks and standards by which progress towards implementing the plan can be measured. And number 4, work with specific projects that are, I'm sorry, I lost that. Hold on. Work with, my phone decided to act up, so give me a second. You know how that goes. The city, okay. We went through that. I apologize. All members, all committee members and staff are participating virtually. We appreciate your patience as we work through committee meetings a bit differently. We are streaming live on our virtual engagement hub, which is accessible through the virtual engagement hub link on the front page of the city website and also linked on the committee page. We also have an option for the public to listen by phone by dialing 855-925-2801 and entering meeting code 9247. I'll say that again, 855-925-2801 and entering meeting code 9247. For those of you who plan to speak during our live public comment today, you will need to hit number 3 to be put in the speaker queue. For those of you out there with us today, welcome. I will now go through and introduce all the committee members that we have for today. That's my phone did it again. Okay. For our committee members, please make sure to mute your microphones if you're not speaking. When you have a question or would like to speak, click raise hand, and when recognized by the chair, unmute your microphone. And please remember to mute your phone after you are done speaking. Committee members, as I call your names, please say a quick hello. And so I'm Bobette Mays, and I'm at large 2803, and I'm the chair. Sharon?
Hi, I'm Sharon Summerall. I'm vice chair, and I'm 28805.
Peter?
Hello, I'm Peter Abzug, and I'm at large, and I'm in 28805.
Greta Bush is not with us tonight. She informed us earlier. She had a conflict with another meeting, but she represents 28805, and she is also at large. Wendy?
Wendy Hayner, zip code is 28804.
Elizabeth?
Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth. I'm an at-large member and reside in 28803.
Mike?
Hi, my name is Mike Wasmer. I'm an at-large member, and I live in 28801.
The seats representing 2806 and 2801 are currently vacant. Next, City Council Liaison is Kim Roney, who will not be able to attend tonight, but has confirmed she will review the stream of tonight's meeting. Also in attendance is the city staff member, Darwin Hedge, Communication and Public Engagement Department Director. Darwin is filling in for the vacant position of Neighborhood and Community Engagement Manager. Again, I ask committee members to raise your hands and be recognized to speak and state your name each time you comment. Just a reminder that the public is listening on the phone, and this keeps them up to date on the order of the meeting and who is commenting or speaking. Has everyone reviewed the we have the approval of the minutes for February the 28th? 2022. Are there any questions, or can we entertain a motion to accept those minutes for February?
Hi, it's Sharon Summerall. I recommend we accept the minutes as read or posted.
Can I have a second?
Wendy Hayner, I second the minutes approval.
Okay, the minutes have been read, and we've had a first and a second. I'll just ask for everyone to just say aye if all is approved.
I
Aye.
Any nays? No, well, we'll go forward then. I just thought that would be the quicker way to do. Have you all looked at the agenda for today?
Yes.
Okay. So it's been reviewed. We don't have to have a motion about that. So public comments. Do we have any public comments for today, Darwin?
There were no voicemails, no emails, and there's nobody on the line to speak for public comment.
Okay. So what we'll do is I'll just kind of we'll go through and I'll just kind of make sure we check on the time, and we'll move on if we need to, if it gets too long. So first we'll have staff activities and updates from Darwin.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It's great to see all of you. I have a few updates for you. The first one falls in the information sharing opportunity, that category. So some of you may have seen some presentations here recently about cleanliness in Asheville. It is something that has been discussed at council meetings. There was a presentation from our assistant city manager at the last city council meeting. It's something that I know we hear about from neighborhoods over the years when there are problems, and wanted to let you all know that that is definitely receiving attention at the council level and certainly at the city management level. And there are some short and long-term ideas that have been shared. One is getting back to doing more cleanups. And that's where we could use your help. And that is sharing information about some upcoming opportunities in April. So if you go to the news section of the website, there's a post there that lists what some of those different opportunities are. But just real quick, while we're all here together, there's a big one that's happening April 19th, and that one's going to be focused on downtown. So wanted to let you know about that one. And then there's also one that is scheduled April 23rd from 10 to noon in West Asheville. So want to make sure that you all knew about that as well. And here is where you can extend an invitation to the neighborhoods that you all are regularly working with. If you could have them call Asheville Greenworks, we are partnering with them to schedule neighborhood cleanups. All that information is available on the website. And again, if you just go to the news section, the title of the story is City of Asheville Sweeps into Spring. There's a link where you can register there, and somebody from Asheville Greenworks will be back in touch with you. So just want to let you all know that that's happening. It's a great, after all these 2 years, I guess, of being kind of closed and locked down because of COVID. I know that that's impacted a lot of neighborhoods getting out and doing cleanups, but there are some resources available, vests, bags, gloves, those kinds of things if you schedule through Asheville Greenworks. You certainly don't have to, but they can also help coordinate the scheduling of sanitation to come and pick up any bags that you all collect if you schedule through them. So that was the first one. Anybody have any questions for me about that? Okay, thanks. All right. If you do, feel free to reach out. The second one was, council priorities for fiscal year 22-2023. So again, back to City Council's retreat. I'm guessing that you all know that they get together every year and talk about what their priorities are for the coming fiscal year. That's wonderful information that the city manager can then use and share with staff as the budget is finalized, as we lead up to budget adoption in June. So certainly making sure that the budget aligns with what council's priorities are. So the priorities that they identified for, excuse me, for fiscal year 2022 is also, they're also listed in a story on the news site. So again, you can go to the front page of the city's website and then just go to news, and it's right there, city council priorities announced. And the priorities, there's 6 this time, and they are to improve and expand core services. I know just from years working in this area that a lot of times our NAC members are hearing about those types of issues: trash being collected, streets not in good shape, sidewalks not in good shape, need for transportation in different areas. So just wanted to make sure you all knew that improving and expanding core services was one of the priorities. Strategies to address houselessness is another. An equitable and affordable housing and stability was another priority area. Neighborhood resilience, if you had not heard, neighborhood resilience is another priority that council identified. Reimagining public safety and reparations are the last 2 very important ones to round that out. So this year, to look back, the priority areas were reparations, reimagining public safety, the class and compensation study, and ARPA funding. So you can see that 2 from this past year transitioned over to this year. And I do just want to say to everybody that if something did not make the top priority, that doesn't mean that it's not happening. There's lots of core services that continue to happen every day. These 6, however, are the ones that are going to have laser focus on them in this coming year. So just wanted to share that with you all and let you know that info's there as a resource if you want to share through any of your networks. All right, that's it for me.
Anyone have any questions? Do we have any, we don't have any unfinished business, do we? If not, we'll just go on down to new business. So, boards and commissions restructure pilot update. Sharon, you ready?
I'm ready. I wrote it down so I could stay within the time limit. Okay, so I was asked to attend the second board and commission stakeholder restructuring meeting where the city laid out a plan of restructuring and asked for comments. I also attended one of several public discussion panels that were explaining what the proposed restrictions could look like and asking for public input. One of the methods of communication was a process called Jamboard, which allowed points of view to be posted. I'm going to post in the link the public input for the Jamboard, where you can look up what people posted on each one of the meetings. I think there was 5 meetings, and each meeting is listed on the website what the questions on the Jamboard were, which is good. I thought maybe they were going to compile everything all together, but they broke it up into each individual group and what each group asked, which is really great. What I'm asking for is all that are interested to sign up for a future working group and to review the input from those that attended. And I'll put the link for people that are interested to participate in the future working group. They haven't decided how many are going to be on the working group, if they're going to have more than one. They're still fleshing stuff out. So what I suggest is that we all read it, take it back to our neighborhoods, understand it to explain it for all those that don't understand it. And we put it on our next month's agenda And so that we at NAC eventually, I would like to see us have an opinion on whether we want to have an opinion or whether we should have a working group to discuss this and how to take it to the neighborhoods. But I think first and foremost for all of us is that we understand what it is that's being presented and what the comments are that have been posted so far on the Jamboard. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, I know we're missing a couple people, and due to the fact of a couple people have left, and that Greta's not here. So this is kind of a large task to take to all of our groups, because we can't always get people to focus on things that are this technical. But I think people are going to want to know, and I'm going to post the publicinput.com for where the Jamboard information is, and then the restructure pilot input where you can sign up for however the next group is going to look like that's going to discuss this. So I just have to figure out where to post that over here. But are there any questions from anybody on that?
You all do know what she's talking about, the restructuring of where they had the focus groups and how they're talking about restructuring the boards and commissions. Anybody have any comments? 'Cause I know I attended the focus group and Sharon did too. Okay, Mike.
I was wondering if there are any examples anywhere that this sort of framework has been used, or was anything to point to for the workshops?
You mean other cities on boards and commissions?
Yeah, or anybody that are we going off of any kind of basis, or is this newly planned, I guess, is what
They're
I'm asking.
saying that it's going off of a seminar that was at Charlotte, but Charlotte hasn't changed anything. So what they presented us with, and I have printed it out and have it in a notebook, is they have all the formulation of how they're wanting to work and what it looks like. I don't know whether you've seen that or not, but when I post these, as soon as I figure out where to post them on the online chat, then you can get on and you can see everything that they've been presenting, and you can also see the public comment and watch the videos. But it originally came from a discussion of about 3 years ago, not a discussion, from Dawa. Oh, thank you, Dawa. I'm trying to figure out where to put this. I understand that Gwen, I believe, Dawa, did you go to that one in Charlotte to the?
I didn't.
Maybe it was Sarah. I was told once it was Sarah, Gwen, and one other person, I can't remember now, attended a meeting in Charlotte about restructuring boards and commissions. But looking up Raleigh, Charlotte, Wilmington, and several other cities, nobody's adopted this type of process. It seems to be us. So it's came from an idea out of Charlotte, and the restructuring is somebody's idea. I don't know whose exactly.
And it's a process. I don't think anything is going to be decided. It's just a matter of just trying to see how it would look if we did it. So nothing has been decided from when I was at the focus group. I think it was just looking for ideas and what people thought, and the next step they haven't gotten to yet. All right, am I correct, Dawa? Yeah, I thought so.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it was kind of a tricky question that you asked, Mike. So what Beth
did just post
right.
something about Chapel Hill having adopted something similar. I didn't see the whole comment. I just saw Chapel Hill relative to that.
Yeah, so Chapel
That's
Hill about 10 years ago did a restructure, and I guess in representing this effort, and it is being led by the city clerk's office, there was a lot of research that was done for things that could be, and as Bobette said, no decision has been made. A pilot restructure was presented and feedback, a reaction was asked for. And then, as Sharon said, the next step is really getting together a working group, having an engagement around that to flesh out again what this could look like, understanding that there have been some challenges. So a key takeaway I would definitely say is no decision has been made, and certainly looking for public input to not the platform, but input from the community to really flesh out how we can have more inclusive, efficient, and strategic boards and commissions.
Right, and I do believe that NAC should have an opinion on this once we know what it is we're talking about and whether we want to do it through a working group or we're small enough now that I think we all can have a good discussion and find out if we do want to, once more information is gathered, whether we want to have opinions as this moves along.
Okay, Wendy?
Thank you, Babette. So going back to what Dawa was saying about the city's core services, and you're looking at one of them being neighborhood reevaluation or how that will be structured. It would be really interesting, Sharon, to get that information from what they're planning on doing for the core standards and pull that in from the neighborhood, the NAC committee, to see how we can keep ourselves viable.
Well, yeah, maybe, depending on what they're meaning by core. I mean, this, I don't know whether you've been to any of the meetings on this. This is pretty complicated. So to add another element to it, to me, is just a lot of more information. But I went to the last city council meeting and I heard this stated, but nothing has been specified yet. So I'm going to talk about neighborhood resilience as we work down our agenda a little bit. But I mean, if you want to figure out what they mean by core services or core, my focus on boards and commissions is strictly how they're planning and wanting to restructure it, what that's going to look like, and how that's going to affect us, may or may not affect us.
Dawa, with that being said, is there a list of all the core services within the neighborhood resilience that we can just take that part out and instead of looking at everything else, the homelessness and the housing and the whatever else they have on their agenda, but I would like to take just the neighborhood resilience out. And is there a section that you can extract?
Maybe a little further clarification might help. So these 6 focus areas, they are priorities. They're not part of a report. I'm not sure what we would be taking them out of, but council has said, city staff, these are 6 areas where we expect there to be actions taken in the next fiscal year, and that the budget reflects movement in these 6 areas. In addition to everything else, you know, that happens. There's a lot of stuff that happens that's not on those 6 priorities. So help me, does that help with any additional context?
I'm just thinking overall, if there is specific ideas that they're wanting to do within the neighborhood resilience that we could extract from that and apply it to NAC.
I was talking about the boards and commissions only.
Okay.
So that was, my report was strictly on the boards and commissions restructuring.
So we'll get to that.
Okay.
She's got
and then I would say, read the jam, Wendy, read the Jamboard posts. They're like post. I don't know. I never heard.
GEM. Is it GEM?
Look in the
JAM.
Look in the
JAM. Jam.
Look in what Dawa and I posted in the chat. There's a link to all the boards and commissions. And if you click on each meeting, it'll show you everybody's opinions on this board and commissions restructuring. And you'll see a lot of neighborhood stuff posted and ideas and comments and questions on these post-its. And I think that's going to help you understand the boards and commissions restructuring a little bit better.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're welcome to email me at any time, because this is kind of a short format to cram in a lot of information.
It is.
Yeah.
So can we move on down to Walton Street pool update? I did have a conversation. Mike and I have talked. First, let me say that being a native of Asheville, remembering Walton Street Park, we all have memories. All of us that used to go there and the fun we had. I understand that. I know that City Council put in place years ago the restructuring to put Grant Center where it is, and this phase 2 was supposed to be the pool. I do understand that the pool is going to be smaller than the one at Walton Street. They said that they could not keep, from what I understand, they cannot keep the one at Walton Street because of the fact that the repairs and all they'd have to do would be too expensive. What I would say is that this is where neighborhoods become important as to what you would like to see done with that area for the people that live there. Because I'm a person of plan of action. So whatever we do or whatever we think, if we're going to get involved and we're going to do something, I know reparations, when it gets off the ground, that'll be one of the points that will come as far as what to do. So right now, as it stands, the only thing that we can do about the Walton Street Park is to try to submit some ideas of what it can be done to still be part of what that neighborhood was. The pool will not come back, but what will they do with it? And so I just wanted to make sure that for those of you that know where the Walton Street Park is, the pool is, those that you don't, it was in a neighborhood in Southside that was an African-American neighborhood. And at one point in time, that was the only pool that African-Americans could go to. It's been standing, it was up before I was born, and that was over 67 years ago. So it has history, and it probably means a lot to a lot of people. But the thing is that we have to decide what is it that we would want to see. The people in the neighborhood have to say, this is what we want to see done. And if we come with a plan and we review a plan, if it's something that we could actually stand with, I have no problem. I stand with East End, I stand with Burton Street, any community that needs any kind of, just to be a united front on a cause that we can do anything with. I stand with that. And I will put all my energy that I can into what it is, but I have to know what the plan of action is, because I just don't go into something without knowing what we're fighting for. And so I did want to bring that up because I know it's something that has been said. I know that I have classmates that live out of town and they're shooting me emails about the Walton Street pool. And so I just want to let you know that it's not something that I don't think about, but I'm thinking about what we can actually do, that what can be done to preserve the history, because it won't be a pool, and what kind of plan do we have? So I'm going to say that as I go along, to say that that's what I encourage all neighborhoods, as far as you get involved in whatever it is that you're going to get involved with your neighborhoods. You need to know your neighbors, you need to know your neighborhoods, you need to know who are the executive board members of your neighborhood, and actually be in contact with them and your neighboring neighborhoods, because we can get more done together than we can being apart. And since we want to keep this going with a neighborhood advisory committee, and that's what we are, about the neighborhoods, then I want to make sure that we all stay in that same space and we work with each other. Okay, Mike.
Hi, it's Mike Wasmer. I wanted to correct one little thing as far as the pool itself. It was not planned for the Grant Center. It was in 2019 that it was switched to be the Grant Center. In 2017, the conversations that the city initiated with the community really had a lot of questions about Walton Street Pool at that time and what was the future of it, because it was not clear. Part of the reason the Grant Center has taken so long for that expansion to happen is because they had to retro plan in the pool. So the pool is kind of an afterthought when it comes to the Grant Center. And in so many ways, there is a lot of elder support for the Walton Street Pool, whereas a lot of the youth support during that engagement process was pushing for the pool to be at the Grant Center because it could be larger and more visible. And really the result is it's not a larger pool. It is a 31 or 3,200 square foot pool. Part of that is about 1,000 square foot of waiting area, like a zero incline, which is great for little kids. I'd love to have that for my daughters, or my youngest anyway. But the bulk of the pool is about 2,000 square foot. It doesn't have a high occupancy, and I understand that somewhat to be neighborhood use and not community use. I think I could go on all day about the Grant Center, and I know this is meant to be on Walton Street Pool, but it's a situation where maybe the Walton Street Pool should be replaced. I think that's the intent. I don't think that they can fix it. I think that has been clear, but the possibilities of other alternative ideas have not been brought back to the community. In 2019, when they announced that the pool would be moved to the Grant Center, there was no further engagement. There hasn't been much engagement about the Grant Center since about 2017. They did do quite a lot of engagement, and then at some point it just kind of went dark. There's much more to say. I'm gonna pause there.
I know, but what I would say is that if your neighbors in Southside area, if they can come up with what the plan of action that they would possibly want to see for that Walton Street, for that pool area, fine. I know that the city said that the pool at Grant Center would not be any larger because to make it larger would be cost and safety. That was what I was told. And I will say to you that it has come to the point that instead of waiting for the city to come back to you, then you need to start gathering the people in your neighborhood to take proposals to the city. And if that's what it is, if that's what your plan is, as long as you can bring that to me for me to work on, for your plan of action of what your neighborhood wants, what they want, and what you want to do, then I can join. And Nat will take a look at what we can do. But that's a large project for the things that that I don't know, and I understand from our conversation, and you've read about how Southside and what has happened to it, but I lived it. So I didn't live over there, but I remember the displacement. So I know what you're talking about, oral renewal. I know how the city obtained, but they did a lot. That has happened a lot all over the city. And that's a large project. So we will, I will get with you. When you come, just shoot me an email and let me know some of the things that your neighbors are saying. I know a lot of the people that live over there by Walton Street, where the church is, Tabernacle. You've got two churches over there, Tabernacle Baptist, and you've got H.B. Ferguson Missionary Baptist that's right around the corner from there. And you've got a lot of things that you can, Bethel, you've got Brown. So you've got a lot of churches. And so if you wanted to do some connecting with people that are actually there, then I can help you with that. On a personal level, not as, but and then we can see where we can go from there. Will that work for you? Because
Absolutely. Yeah.
I hear you.
And yeah, I have had those conversations. I know that there's a lot of people don't want to put up a fight because there is a lot of times that the city has rolled over people, so there's an issue. And the ground, they're expecting to break ground on the Grant Center expansion this week, I believe. So yeah, the expectations aren't high, but the conversation has been avoided for about 5 years.
But you're gonna have to step up. You have to step up.
One thing I'll say though is Brenda Mills was also working within Parks and Rec, and I believe also Southside Rising was doing some engagement related to Walton Street Park. So they're going to be the ones to talk to when it comes to that too, what kind of things that they have deduced thus far.
So you should be able to, if you look at the last city council meeting that you saw how East End Valley Street, they didn't give up about that Memorial Stadium. So you can't wait. It's to the point that we can't wait. If you've got something, you've got to, you've got to make a voice. And if you, like I said, if it's something that really, that the neighborhood, and that's what we're about, the neighborhood is really wanting to make a difference. I know artists, I know people that would be glad, probably River Arts District would be glad to come in and help if you need murals or whatever it is but I have to have a plan. I have to know what you're saying that, I know that the expansion at Grant Center is not as much. I know they closed down Walton Street Park, pool. I know that. What I need to know is, what is your plan of action? What do you actually want? And what do you want the city to know that Southside wants to be remembered by as far as your Walton Street Park and the pool? Does that make sense? Okay. Elizabeth.
Hi, this is Elizabeth. Yeah, forgive my ignorance, but I keep thinking if in going to a neighborhood meeting, what are the neighborhood association meetings connected with that Walton Street area? And that's probably listed somewhere on the NAC website. I apologize.
Well, it's not, it's just about, we're communities, and Southside has, they have a community association. We do not NAC, we're only advisory. We don't give out anything other than just as on the advisory part. But my thing to Mike was that I would be because I serve on other boards just like Sharon does, and they're probably everybody else. But my thing was just that I would be willing to, to work. And even if it was your neighborhood, if you had some things going on, it's just, that's what that's about.
Well, and my question is really, if I wanted to go attend a meeting and talk to people about what do you want and what you're saying, I don't know which neighborhood associations are active and if they have regular meetings and that kind of thing, that I could just go, hey, I'm here to listen.
So that goes back to what Darwin, Sharon, and I discussed, since we're on this topic already. I need for every member to at least shoot her an email of when the community association meetings are, what the dates are and the times, and probably if you know who's the president, who's your executive board, send that too, because we're going to start doing that. Well, I am, and so we'll have that, because I may not make them all, but I think if we all take a turn in showing that we're involved and we're active and we care and we're concerned, and that'll help. Okay, Mike.
Bobette, yeah, this is Mike Wasmer again. Elizabeth, I wanted to say that Southside United is the neighborhood group. It's newly formed that covers Southside, everything south of Choctaw. South French Broad is the neighborhood that I live in, is just north of Choctaw up to Hilliard, basically. There's been a disconnect that was errantly created back in 2007, and there has been a disconnect in how the neighborhoods interact, or how are they even able to interact. I would say that most of the engagement regarding Grant Center and Walton Street Pool have gone through Southside Rising or some level of the Housing Authority doing some of the engagement too, I believe. It is not very clear. There was very little engagement to my neighborhood. I'm not feeling real sore or hurt on that. I find it weird that there wasn't enough outreach in that regard. Because our neighborhood borders that property, and the expectation is that there will be neighborhood use from all neighborhoods adjacent. So I'd be happy to discuss it more later too.
Okay, Sharon?
Yes, we're running out of time on this topic.
Okay.
And your message about neighborhood meeting, Peter, I would really like to get together with you so we can figure out who our neighborhoods are in our 28805, and that we can find out when meetings are. I know when my meeting is, so you and I really need to get together and nail this down. I know I said 3 months ago I'd do this, but I think the time is now so that we
Okay,
get it together, if that works with you.
sure. Just let me, know the best times that go for you. I think you're probably a lot busier than I am. And
Yep.
so let me
Okay.
know either by
Yeah, just to
email or
let you know,
give me a
yeah.
call.
And I'm working as well, so thank
Wow.
you.
Yeah.
Did somebody else
Pleasure.
have their hand up?
I actually had mine up just as a follow-up to that. I was just going to say thank you because it sounds like between, and if I'm getting this right, Southside United, South French Broad, Southside Rising, there are several that are adjacent there that I can try to.
Southside Rising is, I don't know exactly how to describe them. They're kind of a community interest group. They have been contracted to do some of the work. They helped to organize Southside United. I'm sorry, I might have even just said Southside United before. I mean, Southside Rising helped to organize Southside United. They did a couple introductory sort of meetings to help to define the parameters. It's something that NAC ostensibly should have been involved with, but I don't exactly know why. I did outreach at the time, but that did not go anywhere.
Well, we're gonna get it now. We're gonna let the past be the past, and we're getting ready to start working now. Let's go on. I don't want to cut off, but I want Sharon. Sharon has something very important that she's gonna speak on, and so I want her to go on and start now.
Yeah, I'm going to be quick. Adawa, did you get my email when I sent you? I don't know whether to share it or not. I sent it to you about an hour ago with an attachment. So what I think we can do is if we can attach it to our meeting minutes so that everybody can read this because we're running out of time and I'm going to talk quickly as I read this. So it's we've had Chris Collins on who is in development services and he was to come on and explain TRC. And he's just had a crazy schedule with everybody on staff, but all the changes and staff leaving. So I'm going to make a quick report on how I think NAC should be involved and the importance of having TRC input. So the Technical Review Committee, TRC, is an 8-member body consisting of 6 staff, a representative of the Urban Forestry Commission, and MSD. A newly created position on the staff report was created for neighborhood services, which gave at the time Brenda a place to input comments from the required neighborhood meeting minutes when a project is submitted that's a level 2 and above. This new position was created solely for neighborhoods to voice opinions on a particular development, whether good or bad, as the development proceeds through planning and urban design. The city on their website has this statement posted. The Planning and Urban Design Department provides sound professional land use planning, zoning, urban design, and historic preservation services to achieve livable and sustainable neighborhoods for everyone. The department is committed to cooperating with our community on its vision for equitable growth and development consistent with Asheville's comprehensive plan. One of council's new priorities for 2022 is neighborhood resilience. So I believe that this position for neighborhood services is most important. Previously, there were few comments posted, and currently there is no one on staff to submit comments. Neighborhood meeting minutes can be accessed through Simplicity 2, and a hyperlink is being planned on its main page, which will go directly to the meeting minutes. I believe that we should know how to maneuver through Simplicity 2 to show and advise our neighborhoods how to access this information. And I am willing to provide the training since it's rather straightforward. Meanwhile, I think we on NAC should make this a priority and acknowledge that neighborhoods should have their opinions posted as they may go to P&Z, historic landmarks, design review meetings, and etc. I will offer, if only temporarily, to read the neighborhood meeting minutes and post questions or concerns until a staff person is hired to fill this position. Since NAC only advises council and not staff, we should immediately ask council to approve my temporary role by submitting a letter acknowledging this position. Now that was a lot said in 3 minutes. But basically what I'm saying is that we have on our staff report for an applicant, neighborhoods, meeting minutes to be summarized, and it's not being utilized and has not been utilized for the last 3 months. And the staff is short staffed, and so they're not able to do it. And I'm thinking that I'm on TRC with the Urban Forestry Commission, and I'm familiar with how to access all of this, that I'm volunteering me to put down the salient points on a development that go on the staff report until the city hires someone that is able to do this. And I'm asking permission from NAC that we write a letter to council and ask for me to have this position.
Darwin, we cannot really do that. Isn't that position appointed position?
So, well, it's a staff position.
A staff position.
I'll say that, and council has limited authority over directing operations. So I will say that too. So certainly not to say that you all can't do what Sharon has proposed. I will say that, and at the very least, it would be very helpful for staff to have a really clear, good understanding with some guidance from NAC about what types of things should consistently be included in that section of the report that goes along with the technical review committee. So there, I will offer that too, that certainly input from you all about these are the things you should be looking for. These are the things that matter most to neighborhoods is a way we can move in a positive direction. And if it is only solely staff, which is how it's currently set up.
Now, I am not staff and I am on TRC. So I do know that there is leeway to allow for non-staff people. And I do know from having read 3 years worth of meeting minutes from applicants that it has mostly to do with construction concerns, height of a building, trees coming out, buffer, how many units, sidewalks, traffic, all the usual things that we hear if we are attending any type of neighborhood meetings of any kind. They will say that they will like something or that they will not like something. And it's pretty well because it's pretty well broad because it doesn't apply to the UDO in any way specifically. It's just to let everybody know that this is what the neighbors are thinking about this particular development that went to this meeting. And that is basically what Brenda had done before, like with Charlotte Street. She said there's a number of concerns about the Charlotte Street development. And then I know from reading neighborhood meetings that one neighborhood group didn't really want bushes, they wanted blueberry plants. And so the developers were saying, okay, we'll put in blueberries for them. So, I mean, there's these nuances of what the neighbors want that are in this area of a development that there's a spot for it on the staff report. And I'm not so sure that has to be a paid staff person doing that, as I am not a paid staff person and I am doing it.
So you're doing it for urban forestry and that's not a staff. Okay, so let's table that till you and I and Darwin, we can get some more information, because I don't want to send a letter up to city council without knowing all the particulars of what's going on. I need to get some more information. And it may just be that somebody else on this committee may want to do that since you already serve with the urban forestry. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying because I know how, I mean, I'm not volunteering. I'm only saying that because I know how to do it.
Okay.
And it's a simple process.
Yeah, Mike
Wasmer here. I really support that. I really do support the intention, and I would like to see that happen. I've had notions that should happen some way or another through NAC, because the development is always what drives neighborhood engagement and drives a lot of neighborhood organization. So being a participant to those meetings is huge, both in helping the neighborhood and helping to also, it even helps the developer. If the developer gets a good sense and has good cogent points that come from the neighborhood, it helps everybody in the room, really.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, let's go on to the updates from other boards. Multimodal transportation, Elizabeth. Do you have a report on that? Have you met? You're muted.
Yes, sorry. I actually just got the contact a couple of days ago from someone, and then Kim responded and emailed today, or was it today or yesterday, saying she wants to talk about that as she's the liaison to both. So I have not had that meeting. I'm going to set that up. And Dawa, is it your I don't know. Bobette, you were copied on one of those, and Dawa, you sent me something else. So I'm not sure the proper channels. Do I need to just contact Kim directly and chat with her about her ideas on that role? She was, I think, talking more to the role that we discussed of that liaison.
I would say that you could reach out to the chair of the Multimodal Transportation Commission and talk with them about attendance. So that was
Okay.
the link that I sent you. I'm not sure about Kim's.
Okay. Yeah, I think, Bobette, you were copied on that
Yeah,
email
I
that
think
she
I
just
will.
sent.
I will. Yeah, I'll get with Kim too. I got that email, and so
Okay.
I will get with her. Okay. Now it's member information sharing. Each committee member. Who wants to go first? Let me see. Peter. Tell me about your neighborhood.
Well, actually, I'd say about 3 weeks ago, put it in application to be recognized by the city as a bona fide neighborhood. Dollar has it, and I guess we're just waiting. I don't know what happens next. Do we get a letter back saying that you are recognized as a neighborhood, or are we a neighborhood abracadabra, or what? And so I can report back to the folks on the board. I don't know if you can let me know what that is, or just send me an email or whatever. That'd be fine. I do look forward to working with Sharon, because even after a year, there's a lot of mystique for me in this whole neighborhood thing, that I think she could be a good help to me and sort of position me where to walk and what to do, which I look forward to doing. But that's it. That's my update.
That's a good start. Being that shouldn't be noted as part of that, with your community being established in that way. That's good. Sharon?
Well, Eastern Valley kicks butt. We're, God bless Renee. And as I said before, I missed our last neighborhood meeting because I had to bury a friend. So I missed it, but I'm looking forward to hybrid meetings when we meet again in person, because Eastern Valley works really well when we meet collectively. And we're doing a good job on Zoom, but I'm looking forward to the hybrids meeting. Renee runs a tight ship. I'll interject the best I can with NAC and Cam, but she's got an agenda and she goes for it. And I try to squeeze my stuff in there on the side and get her to pay attention when I can. But it's a real good neighborhood for role modeling. And when I went to council, there was 5 people there to support Memorial, what's the name of that thing? Stadium. And so that was really great to see. They all had matching shirts on. And before they even got a chance to get up and state their complaint, the city acquiesced and realized they'd made a mistake and granted everything that Easton Valley was asking for. So they're a really good neighborhood to watch. And I'm real proud to be a part of that neighborhood. So that's it for us.
Mike?
Hi, Mike Wasmerkin. I live in South French Broad neighborhood, as I described earlier, errantly created. There was a vision plan process back in 2007 that was instigated, and a large document was created at that time, but it never went anywhere. And then the neighborhood organization dissolved. It was in 2017 that my neighbors and I picked up the mantle of South French Broad unknowingly that we historically are South Side. And we've kind of just been going with it ever since. We were fighting Duke Energy, putting a substation on the corner of our neighborhood at that time. And we are a loosely organized group of neighbors. It was very informal. We've never voted for a president. We just have the same contact person and just kind of do as we can or do what we can to improve the lives of our own neighbors in our neighborhood.
Elizabeth?
Yes, the Oakley Neighborhood Association is just kicking. Had a meeting last week. They meet on Tuesday nights, I think every third Tuesday. We're having another Open Streets Asheville meeting, a festival that we're partnering with the Asheville on Bikes and all these organizations to block off the street for May 22nd. If anybody wants to come to that, it's a Sunday. We also have a very active resilience garden that a lot of people come and put lots of hours into, and it's right on Fairview, and people are getting excited about that. They're restructuring the bylaws, and we're voting to amend those and have a pretty active website and Facebook page. So a lot of stuff going on in Oakley.
Wendy?
Thank you, Babette. Well, I don't have just one neighborhood. I have many in the 28804 area. So I'm going to start off with Grace neighborhood. So we are looking for a pro bono attorney to help them write the contract, but they have the contract or the grant that they have received from the city, and they want to have someone read it so that they understand exactly what they can and cannot do. They also would like to have a couple of vendor suggestions for fencing and an artist. So these are the two things that they are in desperate need of. I don't know if we have a list, Dawa, of recommended vendors from the city. Is there a way to find that out?
I can't imagine as a governmental entity that we would make recommendations for people to do business with.
Okay, so that will be my answer to them. The next one is Lakeview Park, and they received one of the grants, and they're working on a tree canopy. And Sally Parr is working right now to secure bids and award the contract in order to have the grant approved. There were 4 grants given for the 28804 area, and so we're working on all those. One of them was dealing with a fence. Another one was helping with the tree canopy. Another one was dealing with the sidewalk and steps, and they're looking for concrete. So there's just so many things going on in 2804. Working diligently to try to get together and have them more organized. So that's another thing that we're working towards. So that's what we're doing over here in 28804.
Sounds like a plan. I think that I'm probably the last one that with Shiloh. It's very interesting. We have a garden, and I think they're getting ready to start to plant on getting the garden up and running. Our association has been involved in a lot of different things. We are now trying to find ways that we can negotiate with the developers that are coming into our area, because they're coming, because the property is not as expensive as it is directly in the city. So we see them coming in, and the good thing about having an executive board, I would tell anyone, an executive board and a community association, is that that's where your power comes when you get ready to sit down to talk about what's going to happen in your neighborhood and what you don't want to see. We have a 2025 plan that we're getting ready to up that up to maybe a 2045 plan. We want to get with the city's comprehension plan. So there's some adjustments that we need to make, amendments we need to make to our 2025 plan. But we do see that we remain as a residence. And that's what we hope for. So we're well established. We've been established for quite some while. And so we're doing well. So that's what Shiloh is doing. Does anybody else have any more comments? Anything you want to say? This is time. Okay, Sharon.
Wendy, have you asked our city council, like Brad Branham or Eric Edgerton, regarding reading the requirements that you're having problems with?
No, I haven't, have not done that. I don't know those two people.
They're assistant city attorneys, and sometimes if it's attached to a grant from the city, they'll probably be able to. I mean, Eric Edgerton is really great. He'd probably look at it if you've got any specific questions, seeing how it's tied into grant money. Don't you think, Dawa?
Wendy, I would like to know a little bit more, because we have a staff member that is working. So the city attorney's office definitely approved the agreements. And we've got a staff member that's working with the neighborhoods to move through the different pieces of what the deliverables will be. So I'm just curious if that was just where the neighborhood feels like they need to get outside counsel before signing the agreement, because part of it's generic and was developed by the city's attorneys. So I wonder if it is that generic agreement, or if there's something about defining what the scope of the work for the project will be, if that's where the neighborhood's having concerns. But yes, I mean, staff is, I believe they've been working with Tom Downing. So I would just be curious about what piece
Actually,
needs some
Trapper is the one who requested this information for the Grace neighborhood. Does that name ring a bell?
requested what information? The outside counsel? There's another, I've got a staff member that's managing those relationships. I feel like, though, I've been in the introductory meetings with the awardees so far. I think he might have been in there, and I wasn't aware of any concern about the agreement.
Okay.
But you can certainly, I will pass along to Tom that there is a concern, and you can certainly pass
And this
along.
is with the Grace neighborhood.
Right.
They're doing the fencing that has come down over on their street in Claremont Avenue.
So I wonder if there's some right of way. So that's where it would be helpful to just understand a little bit more. So if there's a right of way issue, that would be probably that would be outside of the city's hands and isn't necessarily related to the agreement between the neighborhood and the city, but is the project's contingent on that. I wonder if that might be what's
They
happening.
said that they met with one attorney, but he
I bet
hasn't
that's
heard
right.
back from them in 6 weeks. So
I bet you there's some, so it's not the agreement between the neighborhood and the city, but some facet of the project that they want to do that requires them to have an attorney represent the neighborhood.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, the agenda items for our next upcoming meeting? I was kind of confused. Board training fall 2021 dollars. Did I miss something?
No, ma'am, those have been, I wanted to ask you all about those. So these just carry from month to month as a placeholder, and so that we don't forget anything you guys have said you'd like to have on a future agenda. But I do know that Jerry Goldberg has been in touch, I think, both with Sharon, you and Bobette. So do you want me to take that one off? I can just, that's, I think, what we need to do. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll take that off.
Okay, are we still gonna do the technical review committee with Chris if we can get him to come in? Are we gonna just pin that till we talk, till we get the rest of this figured out?
Yes, I
let's just
think
put a
we
pin in
should
it.
discuss
Yeah,
it,
let's just put
yeah.
a pin in it.
All right, so do you want me, so leave that one there? Or
Yes,
do you want me to take it off the agenda items for upcoming meetings?
Well, take Chris's name off of it because
Okay.
I don't think Chris needs to be involved. He was just gonna come explain TRC, and I think we all understand TRC.
All right, fantastic. And then my to-do is you all would like more, sorry, on a side while we're talking about TRC though. is
well,
I'm
let me
gonna-
just ask, does everybody have a clear understanding of what TRC does? Everyone, that's what I need to know, first of all, everyone. See,
No.
I think that we need to have that discussion because everyone may not know all the particulars about
Well,
TRC.
I can explain it all. I just haven't had enough time to do so. I mean, I know the workings of TRC inside and outside. I've been on it 3 years. So I'm real
Yes,
familiar
Elizabeth.
with it.
What does TRC stand for?
Technical Review Committee.
Okay, thank
Committee.
you. Yeah, I know somebody mentioned it earlier and I was like, I'm still learning
Okay,
the dang
Wendy?
acronyms.
Wendy? You're on mute. You're muted. We can't hear you, Wendy.
Sorry about that. I was just gonna ask back if we could add back in the hero word for next month.
Have we discussed that, Darwin?
Not since I have been filling in. I believe there was a subcommittee that
And that
had done
was
some work.
Greta. Yeah, Greta
Yeah.
and Mike and Elizabeth, you were on it, weren't you?
Yes, and last meeting I asked where we were with that, and they said I think we're still waiting to get at some
Yeah.
point Jeremy was supposed to forward the paperwork on the latest nominees, and even that has been several months, so I'm not sure. The committee hasn't met. I think we're waiting on something. So I don't know. Mike?
Hi, Mike here. The committee itself is not generally the one that actually votes. It's like the kind of a steering sort of thing as far as if any changes need to happen to the award. And in lieu of that, we have actually gone ahead and voted, but I don't really know. As y'all have noticed, I've missed 2 meetings out of probably the last 4. So I'm not up to speed with it either. I haven't talked to Greta in a minute. So I really don't know anything. I don't even think I've even seen nominees. I didn't see a list ever.
I had submitted, this is Wendy, I had submitted recommendations.
Okay, good. I just don't know where it's at personally. If you may know more than me, Wendy, and I don't know if Greta knows anything else.
I don't know.
Can we
Okay.
put that on for next time? And if Greta's here, so that
And-
committee can have kind of like a understanding of what they want to do? Because I'm not familiar with where that stands either. Elizabeth?
Yes, I would just, how about Mike, you and Greta and I can get together before the next meeting and put our heads together about what we each know. We might be able to figure
Okay.
out where that nominee list is.
Sounds good. We'll have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and you all let me, I mean, I can, I've got access to all of Jeremy's emails and his folders. So it sounds like the agenda item for next week is a report out or a status report on the Neighborhood Hero from the Neighborhood Hero Subcommittee. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Status report,
If we're sticklers, it's Neighborhood Volunteer of the Year.
neighborhood volunteer of the year committee. Okay, status report from neighborhood volunteer of the year committee. Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, will that work? That work for everyone? Hopefully so. So I have on here the discussion of the appropriate structure for liaisons to other boards and commissions. Was that, I don't know if that, I can't remember. I know we discussed, we have 2 vacancies now. We have the one from Anna Sexton on our committee, and JP has moved, he was moving to Charlotte because he got a job there. So we have 2 openings, and I know we were trying to discuss what we're going to be the next step. Will the city post those appointments?
Yes, ma'am.
And
For those
until then,
vacancies?
yeah,
Yep.
at large members. I know Anna was Burton Street. And what was JP? I can't remember now.
I believe he was 28801.
And that would
He
have
lived
been,
in Wecan.
it could have been what?
He lived in Wecan,
What is that?
West End Klingman Avenue
Oh,
neighborhood. Wecan.
is that what they call it? Oh, I'll tell you,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
come up with
yeah.
some stuff. Okay. So what we
I
were
got a
gonna
fun
do,
one.
we were gonna
Fuck
try-
Soho.
we were just gonna try to fill in until the city posted it for appointments to those 2 positions, so that if we can find out, if all of you can find out when these association or these areas meet, what time and what day and where, then that will be very helpful to us that will go to the different areas. If we're at large, we will start trying to go to some of these meetings. We will make it our way to go until those appointments have been filled. If that's if that's all right, but we need the information because I don't have it. I don't have it on me right now. I think that Jeremy might have had it. I don't know, but we'll need to research it to find out.
We do have, through the neighborhood map on the neighborhood services page of the website, you can hover over each neighborhood that is registered and it will tell you contact information. And when we have in our database, they've said that they meet. And where we can really use y'all's help is a lot of that changed. So that's what Jeremy had. We can export it and share it with anybody. It's all public record. But during COVID, things changed and now people are meeting virtually and some have gone back or not, and just updating it because it is such a great resource for all people. That's where we could use some support, just knowing how much things have changed with COVID.
Okay, so how did you say we access that again?
How about this? I feel like there were a couple things. So Sharon, I can send an email that has a link to straight to it, or you could just Google neighborhood services on the front page of the website. But I'll send an email with the neighborhood services link. And then Sharon, there was something else that you had mentioned. I can send that link to everybody in an email too. Was it probably the board and commission restructure project page?
You're muted. You're muted. Sharon, you're muted.
I cuss even when the thing is off. Sorry. Restructure pilot and input. And that's for anybody that wants to join apply for the new subgroup or whatever they're calling it.
The work group, is that what they call it?
I don't know what they're calling it. The new working group for the new pilot working group that will discuss the different.
Okay.
So I think that we have done well today. with with the meeting and finishing up. And the next regular meeting is, scheduled for Monday, April the 25th, 2022, and remains virtual. Check on the city's engagement hub for more directions on how to participate. If there's nothing else, I will now adjourn the meeting unless anyone has any objections. So adjourned. I hope that you all have the rest of the afternoon is really good to you because it's still sunny outside. It's a little cold, but enjoy what you can. I appreciate each and every one of you. The work that you're doing is fabulous. I think that NAC is proving that we are working as our communities, and we're going to continue to work. So thank you for that, and have a good evening.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Are we off air?